announcement?
Yes, Madam Mayor, during the special meeting that was begun at 5:30, the council went into closed session for a conference with labor negotiators. This is concerning the Calimesa Professional Firefighters Association. Council concluded that closed session, returned to open session here. There was no reportable action from closed session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will adjourn to the regular meeting of the City Council today, July 21st at 6 p.m. Thank you very much. Huh? 4 minutes.
Can we start early?
Yeah, can we start early?
Yeah. No? We have to start. Yeah. Okay.
I think they'll put it one.
Can we go based by that clock though?
Okay. I need to. Oh, he did. Those 127, 2 for 28. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Calimesa City Council meeting today. Today's July 21st. It's about 6 p.m. I have public comment slips here. If there's anyone who plans on speaking tonight, be sure to get your slips in. We'll go straight to roll call.
Councilmember Cundiff.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Manley.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cervantes.
Here.
Mayor Molina.
Here. And for the record, let it show that City Manager Colbo's here, City Attorney Flowers here, City Clerk Gertis is here, Finance Director Reed. Public Works Director Shakir, City Engineer Thornton is here. Acting Deputy Chief Steve Shaw is here, and Sheriff Captain Northrup. Councilman John Butler, please pledge.
Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
our planning director Lucia isn't here tonight, but our senior planner Celine Seville is here.
I apologize. Celine Sevilla is here. Thank you. For the record, thank you. Okay, so we have two communications from the public. Let's start with Dr. John Usher. Okay. I'd never know.
It's before our time.
Oh.
Again, I'm Dr. John Usher, 983 Cottonwood Drive, Calimesa, California. I have here the names, addresses, and signatures representing the 57 homeowners of the so-called Rosewood Estates, as titled by the developer. This housing development is over 2 decades old, and my wife and I are original owners. When we moved in, the area in the front eastern section of the wall along Bryant was fully landscaped with sprinklers, ground cover, and over a dozen pine trees that were between 15 and 20 feet tall. A number of years back, the city turned the water off, the trees and plants died, and the city pulled it all out, leaving nothing but dirt and weeds. I contacted then Public Works Director Bob French, who promised to replace everything with drought-resistant landscaping. Nothing ever happened, and I've since contacted the current director, Mari Shakir, and my messages have not been returned. We homeowners pay a special assessment tax of $286.24 a year, out of which the city maintains the landscaping along Bryant Street, side of the development. 57 homeowners at $286,000 a year for the last 20 years amounts to $375,260.64. For what is now an unsightly block-long strip of dirt and weeds. We would like some kind of an accounting for these funds and what the city plans to do about their obligation to the 57 homeowners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not yet.
Okay, next speaker, Howard Reed.
My name is Howard Reeves. I live at 1017 Douglas Street, Calimesa. I'm here tonight speaking to the council and the city staff as a commissioner. Last Saturday morning, my wife and I attended the public library opening. And when we got home, I got a blistering few 4-letter words on what did not take place at that opening. And as you can see, my wife is not here tonight. She's highly upset. And we lived in this city for 58 years, and I've been heavily involved as a commissioner for almost 34 years of being a city. Now, the county did a lot of introductions on that microphone. I lost count of the number. But they didn't, no one from the county introduced the 5 commissioners for the Library Commission for the city of Calimesa. Nobody. And I know the county knew who they were because the commissioners had to RSVP back to the county that they were going to be there. And they get ignored. And we're begging people to be council members, and this is how we treat them. And I had to talk my wife into being a library commission because she reads a book a day and what have you. I don't think it's the city's responsibility to introduce those commissioners. It was the county's responsibility. But it was the city's responsibility to make sure that the county did it. That was an insult to those people. Now, you can go home and talk to your kids about, you're a great kid, I'm proud of you. The kid goes blah, 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 Dad. Doesn't pay any attention to you. But that kid can go to school or go to the coach and hear the same thing, and it's gospel. And that's why the county needed to do it other than the city. Second thing I want to talk about tonight, I attended the truck fair over in sunny Summerwin last Friday evening at that new park complex. The city got outstanding grades, 5 stars. That place was great. It looked beautiful. It represented the city 110% at that complex. But when I attended the one on Calimesa Boulevard the week before, that was a disaster, guys. The city's got to do better than that. We put the food trucks on the dirt. We put the people in their setting to eat their stuff under the canopy on the dirt. I was there, holes in the ground from gophers or whatever, ant hills everywhere because they were spraying for ants. But all the cars are parked on the asphalt. This is a disgrace. This is how we're going to represent the city. We can send people to the moon and back without losing them, and we can't figure out how to get the people on the asphalt and park the cars. Come on, guys. We got to put our heads together and do better than that. Thank you for your time, Mayor.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other persons who would like to speak before I move on? Okay. At this time, it's time to approve the agenda, consent calendar, and waiver of full reading of ordinances. I'm going to have a motion to approve the consent calendar, which is 23 items.
I'll move to approve the agenda, consent calendar, and waiver of full reading of ordinances.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Thank you very much. Okay. Calimesa Chamber of Commerce report. Lion Tony Phillips.
I'm telling the truth, though. Well, thank you for an opportunity to share with the council and city on what's going on with the Calimesa Chamber. As you know, July, our chamber was dark for the breakfast meeting and for the board of directors meeting. We'll resume on August, I believe it's the 12th, 7:30 in the morning, Cafe Royale, where our guest speaker will be Jackie Huber from the Shannon Group. She's going to share about, not really sure. I've been gone. So, let's see, I'm not, I don't know if you're aware, but Donna Matheson, our executive assistant, has moved on to a new job venture. She's currently, we have Arlene Diaz as her replacement, and she's been there since July 7th. So the transition to a new administrative assistant is going along smoothly. It's the wrong time for our president to be, of the board to be on vacation, but that's okay. I'm covering for her. And then a couple events coming up, the Calimesa State of the City, which is hosted by the Chamber, Thursday, September 25th, and will take place at the Plantation of the Lake, like last year, at their big conference room. Tickets to the event will be available soon on the Calimesa Chamber website, and there's more details to follow with that. The Calimesa Christmas Parade coming up We tentatively have dated Saturday, December 6th on this year for that. We need approval from the city council to proceed with the planning. So if I can hear a motion and a second and a vote, that'd be awesome. And currently, this month, we have 3 membership renewals, totaling members of 122. Any questions for me on the chamber?
You kind of drowned off. How many members?
122.
Thanks. Anyone have any comments? Thank you.
Ashley, do you, Mayor?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I just wanted to tell you, Tony, thank you for everything so much. I sent an email. I'm not sure Will has read it yet because I sent it like 5 minutes after I clocked out from my shift at Beaumont Unified. But I've been in contact with our leadership at Beaumont Unified School District, and they do want to start getting to know the Chambers of Commerce as well too, to start participate of your events too. So I just wanted to let you know that we've been trying to network and build that relationship with Beaumont Unified School District and our city.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no other
Lions
questions?
Club project?
I'm going to change my hat. The Calimesa Breakfast Lions Club, as you guys are aware, I'm the president this year. And we have talked about a new project for the city that our club would like to do for the city. And it includes, and you'll have in front of you the 2 papers here that show the plaque for each individual branch. These are the authentic plaques, you know, what the U.S. government uses. The plan is a 10-inch aluminum plaque, the official seal of the military branch. It's a standard finish with a black background color, and you see the cost of the plaque on each one there. We'll have all 6 military branches. And then the second photo shows, this is the original concept before talking with Darlene about this to present to you guys. But this is a pedestal, deco pedestal. It's 12 by 12 at the top and 13.5 by 13.5 at the bottom. It's 42 inches tall, weighs about 380 pounds, and it'll be put in concrete to secure it. The color is pewter, and it's a cast stone material. And so it's going to run about $418 for that, but each side of the 3 sides will have 2 of the plaques on it. And originally we had talked about putting it on myrtle wood because we really don't have anything that recognizes veterans, especially veterans that live in Calimesa. So talking with Darlene about it, she said that there's a possibility that next to the library, the city's kicking around the idea of making that like a veterans park and redoing that pink building, the pink brick building, to bring it up to standard and using it as like a museum or a docent center or something. So I talked with our club about that, and they were like, it would be a lot nicer to be able to put our plaques, donate our plaques, and have them and install them ourselves. We do all the labor. We have to collect the funds for it. But if there were like a fountain or anything like that around it, we could put the plaques in the ground around the fountain. And then another suggestion was putting them above the door frame to the entrance to that docent building. And then also, if we don't have to do the monument type thing, which we could do if you guys like that idea, you know, we can get bigger plaques than the 10-inch. The 10-inch fits on this particular podium, but we can get bigger ones. So what I'm looking for is approval from the city for us to move forward with working with the city on this development, and then by doing that, I can start the fundraising events moving forward and try to get donations from our city and from different local businesses and so forth. I know that if you're aware of it, the Veterans Expo in Beaumont is taking place next month on the 16th. It's a Saturday. I hope to be able to do a presentation at our table that our Lions Club is having there to try to get some interest in this. And then also the city is having on August, I believe the 30th, the city is having that event on Myrtlewood. My partner in my office approved the use of the lot next to our office for a kids zone. Darlene's currently working on that, and our Lions Club, and we're going to try to get the American Legion to join us in the parking lot at my office to have a table and booth and so forth to present the same idea and look for donations and that to kick this thing started. So basically, if you guys are okay with it, we'd like to hear that we can move forward. And this is definitely in the infant stages of the program, so there's going to be a lot of questions, I know, but we want to come together with the city with a plan that works either at the new Veterans Park, if that happens, or on Myrtlewood, if that happens. Any questions?
No. Mayor, if I may, I would
Yes.
respectfully request that maybe we agendize that. If the council would agree that we could talk about a suitable location for the possibility of that gift.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. And I would just say thank you, Tony, for thinking of the veterans and for wanting to do this and work with the city on that. But I agree with you 100%.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay. Any comments?
I don't know if we have to vote for it, but
No.
No, I got the direction. We'll bring it forward. We'll work with Tony to bring that forward for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so is it a new agenda item moving forward, or can I move forward with the trying to get fundraising going?
I think maybe the city attorney will weigh on that.
So there is an agenda item tonight for consideration of this request. The question, I guess, is if the Lions Club is simply looking for the city's agreement that they're on board with this plan without getting the details so that you feel empowered to go forward, you could consider that. If you want to reserve the decision of where this thing goes and when it goes up, you can do so. But I don't know if that satisfies Lions Club's request.
That totally says, I don't want to do this on just the Lions planning. I want to work with the city on it and meet the needs for how the city feels that we can do this. I mean, if it's a situation where it's 2 years down the road that we're putting the Veterans Park together kind of thing, then we can be patient and do that and come up with what we want to do there in the planning. I'm all for that. I just want to be able to present this, start the fundraising this year, because this is my year as president and hopefully my last year as president, but I'm still going to be a Lion, but I want to be able to make this our project. So that's the idea behind it, is just getting going, getting your blessing to move forward.
Do we have to make a motion for that?
I mean, if the council wanted to consider a motion to support the project and, continue working with the Lions down the road, if that would suffice for your purposes,
That would
that's
be-
perfectly
that would-
appropriate.
Yeah, then I make a motion that we continue working with the Lions on this project.
We'll have a second?
Second. So that's our blessing, Tony.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5-0, thank you.
But we'll also agendize it, I think, right?
Yes.
We'll have further discussion.
Thank you.
At the appropriate time, we'll do that. Yeah.
Appropriate time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. We have 5 public hearings tonight, so bear with us. I will open up the first public hearing. Special assessments of delinquent refuse fees. Darlene Gertis will present.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. This is as you know, our annual public hearing for the assessments for delinquent trash fees. so that we have time to get them to the county for the property tax rolls. In June 2nd of 25, we adopted a resolution setting the public hearing for tonight. Since that time, CRNR provided that notice to each property owner whose accounts were delinquent and potentially in an assessment position, notifying them of the public hearing to be held this evening, and it was also published in the Yucaipa Calimesa News Mirror. The delinquent account list provided by CRNR currently contains 177 accounts. Any party on the list who makes appropriate arrangements with CRNR prior to today or even prior to following tonight's meeting and prior to me taking it to the county, we will remove those if they have made those payments. So the 177 could go down a little or a lot. And then I will forward those on to the county for the 25-26 tax roll. Also, the city has a $25 administration fee, and CRNR also has an administrative fee of $78.02. So those will be included on each parcel that is delinquent. And attached to your staff report was a list of all of those properties and the amounts. The total amount for assessment would be $82,136.71. And then the city receives those payments from the county, typically June-ish the next year for those assessments. So with that, I will happy to answer any questions.
Any comments? Well, actually, I'll close. Do we have anybody in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? Okay, if not, I'm going to close the public testimony, and I'm also going to close the public hearing. Councilperson, would you like to?
I have nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2025-38, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Calimesa, California, confirming the reported charges to be placed as special assessments for delinquent refuse fees.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you. Okay, next, open public hearing. This, item number 25, special assessments for redebatement charges. Darlene Greaves will present again.
Yes, and again, this is the annual public hearing for any assessments for any redebatement charges that are outstanding by any property owners whose properties were abated by our contractor. The fire department did their first inspections about April 1st, 2025 of this year. 74 properties were identified as a fire hazard due to weeds and other flammable vegetation. The normal notice to abate letters were mailed to the property owners with a violation form that showed what their violations were and what they needed to take care of. After that first inspection, 30 days went for the second inspection, and after the second inspection, there were 9 properties that had not complied with the notice. So the abatements were completed on those 9 properties by our city's contractor. And then the notice of public hearing was posted and published and included the amount of the proposed special assessments that were mailed to the property owners. In addition, a notice of public hearing was published and posted, and a list of assessments were made available for viewing at City Hall. Property owners were given over 30 days to make their payment to the city, and with a payment due of July 21st by 5:30 p.m. today. As of the day of this report, the city has not received payment for the proposed assessments due on the 9 properties, and additionally, payments not received by the property owners in the 24-25 assessment year following the August 10th, 2024 assessment deadline were held for assessments to this year's tax roll, and we have 1 property for that. The city has not received payment for that 1 property, so we will assess that property as well. All the properties have been included in the Exhibit A attached to the resolution in your packet. There are 9 delinquent parcels as of July 15th, 2025, with a total assessment amount of $20,981.90. And again, any payments that come in prior to the sending of this to the county, which we have until August the 15th, we will remove any of those properties that payments come in. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak on this item? Okay, I'll close public testimony, close public hearing. Councilman, would you like to comment on this item? No? so I'll entertain a motion to, to approve the resolution of the City Council of the City of Calimesa, California, confirming the reported charges to be placed as special assessments for weed abatement for 2025-2026. All in favor? Aye.
Also moved.
Motion.
Yeah, we need
Oh,
a motion.
So moved.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. John, Eric, apologize. Now we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 5-0. Thank you so much. Okay, next public hearing item. Item number 27. This is Summer Wind Trails phases 2 through 5. Okay, you know, I'm just trying to rush us through this evening. I'm sorry, folks. I am sorry, folks. Okay, 26. I forgot my keys just dying to speak. Approval of the, I apologize. Approval of the final annual engineers report for the City of Calimesa Citywide Landscaping and Lighting Maintenance District, number 91-1. Mike Thornton will present tonight. Thank you. Sorry.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a brief report. In 1991, the city established Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District number 91-1. In doing so, the law states that we must submit an annual engineer's report on the budget, expenses, and assessments that will occur in the coming year. That's why we're here tonight. Purpose of the use of the funds is related to landscaping, street lighting, traffic signals, parks, and open space maintenance costs. We will be assessing 4,466 parcels, and the assessment amount is $21.50. That is the same amount that was established in 1991. And I'm available for any questions should council have them.
Thank you, Mike. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this item? Okay, I'll close public testimony, close the public hearing. Councilman, do you have any comments? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-40, resolution of the City Council of the City of Calimesa to approve the final engineer's report for landscaping and lighting maintenance district number 91.1 for fiscal year 2025-26.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
It's 5-0. Thank you very much. Now on to 27. We have public speaking slips here. I'm sorry. Okay, let me open up the public hearing. I will open the public hearing for Summer Wind Trails phases 2 through 5, a request by Paul Onifer on behalf of Gen SoCal. Item 1, SoCal 1 LLC, the applicant, for approval of environmental assessment 23-01, EA 23-01, general plan amendment 2302, GPA 2302, 23-02, ordinance 412, for specific plan amendment 22-01, SPA 22-01, tentative track map 33536, amendment 1, TTM 33536, tentative parcel map 38212, TPM 38212, and development agreement 25-02, DA-2502.
And the staff report will be given by our senior planner, Celine Sevilla.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, and members of the public. Thank you for being here this evening. So tonight, item number 27 is a public hearing for the Summer Wind Trails Phases 2 through 5 project. Before you this evening is a number of entitlement applications, including a general plan amendment, a specific plan amendment, an environmental assessment, a new tentative parcel map, an amendment to a previously approved tentative track map, and an amended and restated development agreement. Okay, so here we have the project vicinity. As you can see here, we are looking at a project that is generally located within the northwest area of the city. And shown there, we have it where the blue star is. So for the project location, here we have it outlined in blue. This site is approximately 853 gross acres in total. and it encompasses residential phases 2 through 5 of the Summerwind Ranch specific plan at Oak Valley. Some of you may recall residential phase 1 of the specific plan, and that has been completed and constructed with build-out happening in year 2022. So to give a little bit of background, anytime we do have a specific plan amendment proposed, we do like to give a very brief overview of the specific plan, where it's headed and where it all started. So this project was originally over 6,000 acres and was approved by Riverside County back in 1988. Since then, the project has been split into 3 different specific plans, with a portion going over to the city of Beaumont and the other portion being the Mesa Verde specific plan, also within the city of Calimesa. In 1991, after the city of Calimesa incorporated, the city adopted Summerwind Specific Plan Amendment 1, what we now know as Summerwind Ranch Specific Plan at Oak Valley. This site is, or the specific plan was approximately 2,600 acres in total. Between the years of 2020 through 2024, the city has approved 3 additional amendments. Amendments 2 and 3 were to accommodate industrial land uses, and Amendment 4 was a change from business park to residential. The project before you this evening is Specific Plan Amendment number 5. The project proposes to make various modifications to exhibits within our general plan, one of those being our land use map. So up on the screen here, I have a quick land use map comparison. The primary changes you'll see here are a shift of approximately 70 acres. With those, there is included a removal of a water reclamation facility. With the removal of this facility, the project will be able to construct 38 additional residential units. There is also a relocation of a school site. This is at the request of Beaumont Unified School District. And there is also a shift of 7 planning areas. The project also proposes to modify our circulation map. The changes you'll see here are a street alignment along Singleton Road, as well as a boundary line change for the specific plan. The city's multi-use trail system will also be revised. These changes are mainly due to grading refinements. So here there will be a modification to an equestrian trail, and you can see those changes there circled in red. So in addition to the various exhibit changes, there also is textual revisions. Various texts and tables within the general plan housing element would be updated to be consistent with the rephasing and the relocation of those planning areas. Various pages of the housing element chapter have been updated to reflect proposed dwelling unit changes associated with the removal of the water reclamation facility. The total unit count of 3,129 residential units assume that no school sites are built, and the alternative unit count of 3,050 residential unit counts assume that planned school sites are built. So the specific plan amendment 2201 would incorporate all the general plan changes we just discussed, and it would also modify the following items. So phases 2 through 5 have been reconfigured to utilize a lift station adjacent to town center. A sewer facility has been resized to accommodate the planned capacity. The boundaries of villages B, C, D, and E have been revised to be consistent with the reconfigured phasing. And the amendment also modifies the reference location where affordable housing units can be located, and that is to include planning area B2. So the units can now be constructed within planning areas B2, TC4, and or TC76. The applicant will touch more on this during his remarks. Okay, so another main component component of the entitlement applications is the proposed amendment to tentative track map 33536. This is a proposal to subdivide those 853 gross acres for future residential development into 4 phases. Phases 2 will be a total of 240 acres with development of 1,818 dwelling units, 1 K-8 school site, and roughly 25 acres of parks and open space, including a rec center of 6.6 acres. Phase 3 will be a total of 210 acres with development of 584 single-family dwelling units and 28 acres of parks and open space. Phase 4 is a total of 217 acres with development of 374 single-family dwelling units and approximately 108 parks and open space. Lastly, Phase 5 will be a total of 185 acres with development of 431 dwelling units and 82 acres of parks and open space. This project also proposes a new tentative parcel map. This parcel map is for finance and conveyance purposes only, and it will be for Phase 2 of the project. In addition to all the reference applications, the applicant has also requested to amend and restate a development agreement. A development agreement is generally requested when construction of a project will be phased over a several-year period or entails a large-scale development. So the terms proposed within the DA are a 10-year term with 1 optional extension. With this, the developer will have vested rights to develop the property in accordance with the development approvals and this development agreement. There is also a development agreement fee, which shall be payable within 30 days in the amount of $250,000, with the optional extension of at $125,000. The developer is responsible for public improvements, so they will be responsible for construction of Roberts Road Bridge and completion of Cherry Valley Boulevard interchange. The project is also required to build the city a fire station, and this will be built in the town center area. The developer is also required to contribute a community benefit contribution for phases 2 through 5 for each residential dwelling unit. So at certificate of occupancy, the developer will be required to pay this contribution. There is also a park contribution. The developer will be required to construct a community rec facility totaling approximately 90.5 acres. The project will also meet its 120 affordable unit obligation by either 1, constructing the units, or 2, paying an affordable in lieu fee for the project. And again, the applicant can touch further on this during his remarks. Okay, so a final component of the entitlement application is the environmental assessment. This is a proposed 4th amendment to the Summerwind Ranch EIR. There was a very robust EIR circulated and certified back in 2005, and as part of this project, the applicant was required to prepare a number of technical studies and additional information such as bioresources study, traffic impact analysis, and tribal studies that were conducted. The addendum concluded that there would not be any new or great environmental impacts associated with the proposed changes. And with that, there are a number of recommended actions before you this evening. I am available for any questions during Q&A. But I do believe Paul Onifer, the applicant, has some remarks he'd like to make.
Thank you, Celine. Paul, would you like to come up? Welcome.
Is this okay? It's on. All right. Good evening, Mayor, fellow city council members, and the public. Thank you for having us tonight. So I thought I would just give you a brief overview of the summary of the changes and the genesis of specific plan amendment number 5. Really, when it break it down, there's kind of 4 components. One is the updated rephasing of the project to align with the infrastructure that was started by the town center. The second thing was the relocation of the school site after discussions with the school district to meet their needs. The third is revisions to the specific plan and the tentative map so they match. There was a couple areas, especially with the removal of the water reclamation facility to get those things to align, and there was a couple changes to boundaries and planning areas and streets because of grades, that sort of thing. And then 4 is really the alignment of all the planning documents that, you know, this project. It's the conditions of approval, it's the general plan amendment, it's the specific plan, it's the tentative map. All of those had to be revised so they're all consistent with each other. So that's the genesis of the summary of the changes. Really what drove this was the rephasing. So when you look at the original specific plan, Phase 2, if you can kind of see this on the old map, Phase 2 basically followed Singleton west to San Tim. And from there, if you look at it clockwise, that's Phase 2. Phase 3 would be north, the northwest corner of the property. That's Phase 3. Phase 4 would be this north center. And then Phase 5 was basically the northeast corner or along Roberts Road. To develop the property under the original phasing plan, Phase 2 would require 2 lift stations, one on the far west end of the property, one in the town center. It would require the building of 2 water reservoirs in the Zone 10, the recycled and potable. Require the extension of Singleton Road to San Tim and the bridge at San Tim to get out to Singleton and San Tim. All of that, plus the associated backbone infrastructure for the development, put a huge burden on the project. So when we looked at this, we said, okay, the town center is moving forward. How can we rephase this where it makes a little bit more sense to get the project going? And when you look at it, essentially the new Phase 2 is everything that gravity sewers to the town center lift station. So Phase 2 has 1 lift station. It has reservoirs, the Zone 11 reservoirs, but those will be phased in as the project moves forward. It's not that they don't have to be built up front because right now we can serve off of the Zone 12 facilities. So Zone 11, potable and recyclable will be built probably when the project's about 400 units in. So that was the genesis of it, really, to kind of reduce the cost of the project and get moving. The second thing was the school district. When we got involved, we met with the school district, and they basically said that they need the school sites that were contemplated in the original specific plan, but the requirements that were laid out in the original specific plan for one of the school sites didn't meet their current needs. 1, it needed to be a minimum of 12 acres, and 2, it needed to front on 2 roads. And so we met with staff. We kind of looked at a bunch of different alternatives to keep it where it was. Nothing really worked, so we had to move it and flip-flop it with another planning area. So it moved from one planning area to another, and that was the genesis of the school district change. So now the school district fronted on 2 roads and meets the requirement of minimum of 12 acres. And then the third thing, the revision of the tentative map and the specific plan. So the tentative map's approved, and the specific plan, and with the changes to the water district, had expanded the sewer treatment plant, so there was no need for the water reclamation facility. So that allowed for, under the original specific plan, for additional housing units in that location. And if you look at the lower left corner of that, you'll see the road. I can't remember the planning area. 1, it goes right along our PL to, in the original specific plan to San Tim, and the tentative map, which is what's shown in the new amendment, the road actually swung out. So those are little technical changes that were made to make sure that those documents, the specific plan and the tentative map matched. And then there were some issues with grading because the specific plan doesn't take into consideration grading the tentative map does, so we kind of cleaned up all the borders with that. And finally, it's just making sure that all of the planning documents match and are consistent with each other. So the references are the same, and the timing and the triggers, the terms and all of that are consistent throughout. So that's why the development agreement reflects the certain conditions of approval with the timing and the timing thresholds that we have to meet. Talks about the fire station construction, and then there's the general plan amendment. There's all of those documents all had to be redone to be consistent with each other. So that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. It's a lot of documents, there's a lot of information there, but like I said, when you really break it down, what drove this was the rephasing of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one speaker slip, Russell Pierce.
Good evening, Mayor Molina, council members, public. My name is Russell Pierce with RDP Development. I represent QR Bircher, Oak Valley LLC. We are a neighboring property to the Gen SoCal residential project. Ours is industrial, but we have shared a lot of infrastructure along the way, and we have just wanted to support this project because I know how hard Paul has worked on it and staff to get the project this far. And unfortunately, we had some delays with a developer that went bankrupt in the past that was doing some of the infrastructure that would serve both of our projects. So that has precipitated then us working collaboratively to try to keep things moving forward. But I just wanted to say that Paul has been a champion of this all along, and I really support this project. I think it's going to be great for the city.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the public? Did you fill out a slip? You did. This is 27. You have a slip for 28. Did you want to fill out a slip and speak? Excuse me? Okay, get them to the clerk, please. I know the one up there is yours. Is yours working and not that one? Oh, okay. Okay, so you'll just have to watch the phone. Okay. Thank you, folks, for bearing with us.
Okay, I'm going to object on the record so I don't lose my opportunity to object. I object to any spillover circulation between the two projects that will interfere with our sensitive receptors. And I'm objecting to the CEQA inadequacy that I believe is going on where the sensitive receptors haven't been taken into consideration properly. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Janet Usher? Is it Usher? Is it Usher? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I'm not a natural speaker, so please bear with me. I have 5 generations of family from the Yucaipa, Calimesa, Redlands area. My grandparents, my parents, myself, my children, and my grandchildren are all in this area. My grandparents and parents have passed away. I'm a bit concerned at this change, modernization, whatever you want to call it. We're going to notice the difference when we go to the grocery stores. We're going to notice the difference when we go to gas stations, et cetera, of the people that come from other cities and states to our area. That's going to impact our little community. Will no longer be the same. And you got your houses and your schools. I'm kind of interested. My father worked for Yucaipa, Calimesa, a joint unified school district. And yet I hear Beaumont Unified, and I'm kind of interested. We're talking about the Calimesa boundary, but we're talking about Beaumont Unified. That confuses me. Also, you bring in all these additional people to our area. And where we live in Calimesa, if I had to call an ambulance, and I have before to my house, I'm not going to say a flip of the coin, but it depends on a bed available, what hospital you're taken to, albeit Redlands or the Pass Hospital. I wonder what developer is considering building a hospital for all those that we've added to the Yucaipa, Calimesa, and Redlands, Beaumont, Banning areas. Cemeteries, we're all going to die. Do you think Redlands Hillside Memorial Park and the desert lawn can take us all? Who's thinking of these things? When you build it, that's it. It's going to change forever. We're going to know these people have come and changed our community. Yucaipa has the In-N-Out Burger, Chick-fil-A, blah, blah, blah. It's like the whole world revolves around fast food industries, and that's not necessarily true. And it does not revolve around warehouses either. Times change. We don't know what's in the future for manufacturing here in America. And I hope you folks are thinking the bigger picture and considering all the generations here. It's not just young children in school. I've had my share of those. But it's also we, the elderly, the baby boomers and the elderly, and our medical needs. The wildlife that's going to be upset from this change too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Paul, would you like to respond? Okay, thank you. Okay, with no further comments, I'm going to close the public testimony, and I'm going to close the public hearing and open up for council discussion.
Start over here.
Whoever would like to go?
I'll go first. Thank you, Ms. Jonifer, for that presentation and for staff for putting this together. And I know it's been a long time coming, and there's been some changes to it. And the only question I have, maybe Paul, you might be able to answer, is with the affordable housing, are you planning on having those are going to be bought? And
They're for rent.
they're going to be for rent?
Yes.
So they're not going to be for sale?
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have.
I'll just follow up with kind of that same question. We've had some discussions about that specific topic. Is that something that's set in stone? 'Cause I know there are some options with that type of housing as far as for sale or for rent. Has that already been decided, or could that change in
It's
the
pretty
future?
much for rent. You know what I can do? I can, we have teamed up with an affordable housing developer, and I can send you a link to the number of projects they've done. One they've just completed in Northern California with our company, and you can kind of see what it looks like. I know there's a lot of concern about, security and police activity, that sort of thing with affordable housing. And when you really break it down, it's a function of the manager and how well the manager is making sure that they're taking care of it and on top of it. And I think that our developer that we're working with on the affordable housing does a great job, but that's one of the reasons why we selected them. But I'm happy to send you a link. You can kind of look and see what the type of units are being built. They're actually quite attractive. But yeah, they're all for rent.
Thank you. That's all I have.
No comments, Mayor. Thank you.
I got it for you, Paul. We touch bases on the affordable housing before I move forward with my next question. Was it this Monday, Will, that we spoke, right? About the inclusive and stuff, right? Is it possible, because I know it's affordable housing, is it going to be with seniors and other demographics?
It's whatever the code requires.
Okay.
I don't know if they have I don't know the code like the back of my hand. I don't know if it has a requirement for senior. I think it's just basically on your income.
Yeah, it's based on-
And is it possible to have a mixed use within the apartment complex or within that area, just to kind of, research has shown that, when there's families living with other higher mid-income, the chances of them getting out of the lower income areas are higher than keeping them all together. And then at the same time, it can support the police department too of the crimes being there, and in the schools as well too, because it does a domino effect. Is that something possible that we can see and look into having a mixed rental in that area?
Like I said, I need to understand the impacts of it. I really can't answer at this time on that.
What do you think, Will?
Well, again, I think we work with the affordable housing. I can tell you, answer kind of the first question about the inclusionary housing ordinance. I believe that's it's in the 80 to 120 range is the target income, and so there's calculations that are based on that median income level, and then they kind of back into a calculation of what was considered affordable for that range. And so that's what they're limited to charging for the rent in those areas. But if there's if we can work with the developer and the affordable housing developer as well to try to address those concerns.
Yeah, I definitely want to see. At least we can try and exhaust all measures to have all those parts involved, just to kind of provide resource. Because we're always going to provide resources to our community, but we do want to make our community be successful too, even if they're being provided with low-income resources too. So that was one of my first questions. My next one, you mentioned about the Parks and Recreation Center of 120 acres for the community rec center.
Well, the community rec center, I think it's like on 6 point something acres.
Oh, 6.7 acres. Can you go into a little bit more detail about that? I'm interested to know what's going to be involved around that.
Well, it's going to include a rec center. We haven't designed it yet, but it's going to include some pools, some either tennis courts or pickleball courts, probably a basketball court. Inside will be restroom facilities, some meeting room facilities. Trying to think of it, the one that's built in the project just south of here, or just east of here, similar to that.
Tournament Hills.
Thank you.
Yes.
So if you've been to Tournament Hills, it'll be very similar to that.
And I'd like to kind of piggyback on that, just to make sure everyone's clear. This is an HOA owned facility. This is not a city facility. So it would be HOA. It's built by the developer, and then the HOA pays their dues to pay for the amortization of the construction costs and for maintenance for that facility.
Oh, okay. I was going to follow with that question. It was going to be built for the community or for the whole residents of Calimesa. So this is going to be built for the community of phase 2 through 5.
It's going to include the option for residents in phase 1 to join as well.
Okay, so there's an option.
And just because it's built for for Summer Wind Trails, it may be open to the public if it has capacity.
Okay. Now, is it possible to think about creating something like that for the whole community itself here within our residents in Calimesa, like a parks and recs, like close to like a civic center, that will match our the population of our residents and our future populations once everything gets developed?
Well, I offered the rec center to the city, and the city kindly said no. So
Oh,
really,
this is before your time?
That's, yeah.
Okay, well, can we bring this conversation up, because now we have a new team, and I'm pretty sure our council members here, my colleagues and the mayor might be interested of getting involved and kind of working together as a team with the rest of the developers, and hopefully probably bringing the Riverside County within our district, just to kind of bring additional resources for our residents.
I'm open to it. You know, it's not an additional community rec center. There's only one, just so we're clear. So it's just that, just the one rec center.
Is there any other areas that might be potential for future?
No, I mean, you know, there's quite a bit of open space, but a lot of it is hillside, and it would be removing a planting area and losing units. It's quite simple.
So
I mean, there, you know, the town center is still open, and there's probably going to be some issues or some things that maybe that's probably a better location for something that's going to be citywide. I'm just throwing it out there because the town center, the retail portion is got a ways to go before it's back on track.
yeah, I'm just kind of thinking ahead from 10, 20 years from now, just how our city is going to look, and our city does something like that within our, within our city, and if you can support support us, that will be very helpful, because developers can just come and then they leave and they just never come back, because those units are being rented with other companies. And another thing too, I'm a pretty big advocate. I've been talking to Will about it too, bringing a medical facility with all inclusive. Just a good example will be like Kaiser Permanente, because they have clinics, including urgent care and Kaiser, and they accept all, not only Kaiser insurance, but they do Medicaid and Medi-Cal for other residents, and our community is gonna definitely grow. And then we got our surrounding cities as well too that could benefit, and this brings good high jobs as well too, which it can support, if you think about it, the low income areas. If there's something like that's going to get built within our community, that can definitely bring jobs within a medical facility to kind of get them out of the lower income units. And then if more people are coming in, they'll be able to move in those apartment complex. It's just creating more of a positive, instead of affecting our neighborhood, and it's more of kind of working together as a team with all within developers and our Riverside County, and then with our city staff here, the city of Calimesa, kind of working with our sheriff's department, because they're going to get affected too. Our fire department is going to get affected as well too, with crime and fires. And I'm sure the rest of my colleagues, my council members, and the mayor, if they want to say something on behalf of that, they're more than welcome. But I definitely want to see something like that for our community.
Noted. Like I said, we're one of the things that we are required to build is the fire station, and that's a fairly large fire station, and the city's indicated emergency operations center. It's a fairly large facility. The current plan is roughly 18,000 square feet facility, and so we have a lot of obligations with that. And the additional rec center, like I said, I think probably we can certainly work together to come up with a solution. But if it's not within the existing community rec center, then I would say you have to talk to the town center.
Yeah, I definitely want to think outside the box and be creative. I appreciate the fire department and stuff, but that's only being utilized for the staff and not for the community itself as a whole. I'm thinking more for our residents of Calimesa, and not only staff. I'm thinking about the whole team, because at the end of the day, we live here, we work here, and we got to think ahead.
If I may, Madam Mayor, Councilman Garcia, I like where your head's at as far as thinking of some of those things, and Will, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe most of those things probably should have been addressed when the specific plan was first issued, correct? When that was first done?
I think, yeah, I mean, in this, for this particular item, I mean, based on what we're talking about here in residential areas.
Yeah.
Because this is only a portion of the Summerwind Ranch specific plan. You know, I think Mr. Onifer stated, you know, talking about, you know, options for the town center. With the town center up in the air, I think it's probably as close to a blank slate as we have. And so a lot of the things you're talking about, I think, would be good additions there. Because a lot of the use you're talking about, probably, besides for the rec center, would be things that would be in a commercial, more in a commercial setting. So, and Mr. Onifer doesn't have any control over that area. So he's just looking at, you know, he's just controlling the residential areas.
So based on your experience, or Stephen, what do you guys think? Is this a good move to move forward, or can we make some adjustments on the plans?
Well,
That's the council's prerogative to make.
But expertise based on the information
Well,
being provided to us?
we made a recommendation, and that is our job to make a recommendation. So the staff report and all the attachments, those are the basis for our professional judgment. But those are more of the objective, qualitative, or quantitative issues. In my view, qualitative issues, subjective items like this are more in the purview of policy direction from the council. And so if the council so desires to further refine certain aspects of this particular piece, again, I think some of the things you're talking about probably would be more appropriate for other areas that Mr. Onifer's his group doesn't own. But for things that are related to this, that would be a discussion for you and your colleagues.
So what do you guys think?
Well, again, going back to my initial statement was when they first brought this for the first agreement, if there was issues that the council had at the time, they could have, you know, addressed it and worked it in at that time with Paul's group, is what I believe should have happened, right, at that time. So now we're giving another development agreement, just kind of piggybacking off of what was brought. And quite frankly, I think my opinion is that the development agreement fees and the term, along with the fire station and the 90 plus acres of community recreational facilities, which is parks and things of that nature, and trails, etc. I think, personally, I think it's good. I think they've come to a good agreement with the city staff on this, and I would support it.
I would say, you know, I think the question on the rec center was a question of whether that's a city facility versus a HOA facility, right? I would not be comfortable making a recommendation on that particular decision right now on the spot without understanding the costs that are involved, right? Because I think the assumption that is being worked on here is, again, as I mentioned earlier, typically with an HOA-owned facility, the developer builds it, and then basically they amortize the construction costs over a certain number of years to those homeowners through their HOA dues. And then the HOA dues also have a maintenance component to that. So that responsibility, you know, potentially could shift to the city. So depending on what that looks like in terms of capital contributions versus what the city would have to pay, and then the maintenance of such facility, we would have to analyze what that would be and what the fiscal impact what that would be to make sure that the tax base isn't impacted. So, you know, those other areas that you mentioned aren't negatively impacted, such as fire, police, public works, all the other areas, because there's only a finite number of dollars that come in. So we have to figure out where they're going to go. Well, if we put more towards that, that means less. That necessarily means less for other things. So we'd want to analyze that to make sure that we understood what those ramifications are before I would be comfortable making a recommendation either way. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I feel comfortable. And Paul did mention that you know, he will support us in any way as well too for future development. So I appreciate that, Paul. All right. I'll take it upon my colleagues.
Okay.
If I may,
yeah,
just
sounds
real quick,
good.
yeah, I just want to emphasize that this project's already been approved, so we just need to remember that it's going to move forward no matter what. I think some of the public might be confused about that. It was approved many, many years ago, and this is just for an amendment to the plan. And the amendment, as I understand it, is to accommodate the school district, the water district, and make it more logical, the project to flow more logical, which is in the interest of the city and the developer. So that's what all we're approving here today, not the project itself. So just wanted to be clear on that.
You picked my brain.
I just want to give a little bit more history to that. You mentioned that this is already approved. I think it's important to understand that this, Ms. Sivia stated this at the beginning of her presentation, that the original plan was approved in 1988. And it was not approved by the city of Calimesa because the city of Calimesa did not exist at that time. We didn't incorporate it until 1990. So this area that we're looking at here has been zoned for housing and planned for housing since the day we became a city. So that was something that was adopted by the County Board of Supervisors back in 1988. So I think just to piggyback on that.
So with that, I would make the motion to adopt the resolution 2025-41. Are we at the, sorry, I don't want to get ahead.
No,
Are
that's
we
okay.
at the motion?
I was just going to comment. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I saved my comments for last, but I thank you for bringing this forward and cleaning it up and making it very clear what the plan is going forward. The community benefits are wonderful, and so I just want to say that thank you for coming tonight and for answering our questions. I'm very comfortable with the way it's been spelled out, and thank you. So I just wanted to ask Stephen, okay. 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 Yeah. I just wanted to ask, do you want us to read them one by one or a group of 6? Item by item? Do you want a vote?
You can take them all at once if you like, or wait full reading.
Okay. Okay.
Or as part of the, if you wanted to just a motion to accept
Yes,
staff's
yes.
recommendations for items 1 through 6, and that will take care of it.
I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendation, items 1 through 6.
And I will second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, this takes us to our last public hearing. Item number 28, Berkshire. Thank you. Berkshire Logistics Center at Oak Valley Town Center, a request by Russell Pierce on behalf of QR Berkshire Oak Valley owner, LLC, for approval of ordinance 414, approving development agreement 25-03, DA 2503, between QR Berkshire Oak Valley owner, LLC, and the city of Calimesa on an approximate 115-acre site within the Summerwind Ranch at Oak Valley Specific Plan Area 1, Amendment Number 4, as previously approved pursuant to General Plan Amendment 21-01, Specific Plan Amendment 21-01, and tentative parcel map 37862, and making environmental findings under the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA. Okay. Presentation by...
Yeah, before the presentation, I have to remove myself, and I'll pass it over to our attorney, Stephen.
Yes, Madam Mayor, as members of the City Council, Councilmember Garcia has advised me that due to the proximity of his personal property, where he resides, and its proximity to the project area, he will be recusing himself to avoid any conflict of interest in this matter.
Thank you. So,
I will be taking that one. I'm going to throw staff a little bit of a curveball, though. Can you, in the back, can you bring up the map for the specific plan amendment 22-01, just so it shows the entire area, so I can show where this is at? There we go. Gosh, you guys are good. Thank you. So before I get to this item, well, I'll get to where it's on the map in a second. So this item is to introduce ordinance 414 for first reading, which would approve the development agreement 25-03 between the City of Calimesa and QR Bircher Oak Valley Owner LLC for the Bircher Logistics Center at Oak Valley Town Center. This project site covers approximately 115 acres within the Summerlin Ranch Pacific Plan area, situated just northwest of the Cherry Valley Boulevard and Singleton Road interchanges. And if you look at this map, it is the area in pink, kind of on the center right of the map. To begin, it's important to emphasize that this project also is not new. The City Council previously approved land uses to accommodate logistics uses back in 2020 and formally granted entitlements in 2022, including a general plan amendment, specific plan amendment, tentative parcel map, and development plan reviews and conditional use permits for 4 industrial buildings and a 9-acre trailer storage facility. At the time of approval, staff went into great detail and analysis of the impacts of the project, including sharing images, renderings, and site concepts, and more. Also, keep in mind all projects analyze the cumulative effects of development, not just the project in question, and not just what is built at the time. When a new project comes along, it is analyzed with the full impacts of all previously approved projects at their full respective build-outs. The entitlements approved in 2022 remain valid, but are currently set to expire on September 6, 2025. A 1-year extension was previously granted by the Planning Commission in August of 2024 under the city's municipal code. However, no further administrative extensions are available. The development agreement before you tonight would extend the life of those entitlements while securing public benefit contributions and implementation commitments that would otherwise not be guaranteed if the project expired and a similar proposal came forward under current zoning. We understand that some members of the public may prefer to see this project expire. However, even if this specific project lapses, the underlying business park zoning remains in place, meaning that similar industrial uses could be proposed in the future. The difference is that we would not have the ability to negotiate added community benefits or infrastructure contributions unless a new discretionary action was triggered. So the proposed development agreement secures the following: an immediate payment of $200,000 to the city within 30 days of the effective agreement of the date, or the effective date of the agreement. Optional extension fees of $100,000 each should the developer choose to exercise either or both of the 2 available 2-year extensions beyond the initial 7-year term. And coincidentally, this timing would coincide with the expiration of the previously approved development agreement with Oak Valley Development Company. This also includes a community benefit of $50 cents per square foot for industrial building space paid at the time of each certificate of occupancy. If the entire project is constructed, this would generate up to $1.1 million in community benefit payments. Importantly, this contribution is now subject to a graduated sales tax offset provision, which was negotiated subsequent to the Planning Commission's recommendation of this item. If the building generates point of sale sales tax within the first 5 years of occupancy and the point of sale is here in Calimesa, the developer may offset a portion of the community benefit contribution based on those revenues. However, if the first 2-year extension is exercised, that sales tax offset is capped at 75% of the otherwise applicable community benefit payment. And if the second one is exercised, the second 2-year extension is exercised, the cap is further reduced to 50% of the community benefit payment. So this tiered structure creates mutual incentive. It rewards early occupancy by sales tax generating tenants while discouraging prolonged delays in development. And finally, the development agreement mandates contributions towards public infrastructure improvements in the Oak Valley Town Center area, subject to resolution of the city's ongoing litigation with Everest Reinsurance over the performance bonds originally posted by Oak Valley Development. As background, the public improvements for the town center were originally the obligation of Oak Valley Development Company, which later entered into liquidation bankruptcy. The retail and commercial parcels were foreclosed upon, and the city is now in active litigation against Everest and Reinsurance to compel payment or performance under the original performance bonds. I also want to emphasize that this development agreement does not trigger any new environmental review. The environmental impacts of the project were previously analyzed in the certified EIR and a subsequent addendum adopted in 2022. Because the agreement does not alter the land uses, building sizes, traffic assumptions, or site layout other than extending the development timeline, no new CEQA review is required. The Planning Commission heard this item on June 23rd and has recommended approval by the City Council. In summary, the project is already fully entitled but is set to expire in September of 2025. The development agreement extends the timeline and secures $1.1 million in potential community benefit payments, additional extension fees, and infrastructure commitments. The sales tax sharing offset has now been narrowed if extensions are used, strengthening the city's negotiating position. The agreement does not change the scope or environmental impacts of the project, and if the project expires, a similar use could still be proposed under base zoning without guaranteed public benefits. From a policy standpoint, this agreement provides predictability, funding, and leverage that would otherwise be unavailable. Therefore, staff recommends that the City Council conduct the first reading of Ordinance 414 and adopt the ordinance at second reading at your next meeting. And that concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And at this time, I'd like to invite up Russell Pierce, who represents the applicant tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Mayor Molina and council members. My name again is Russell Pierce. I'm up here for a different reason now. We're representing our own project, the QR Bircher Owner LLC project, the logistics center. First of all, I definitely want to thank staff again. As I mentioned, I've been doing this for about 35 years, and I don't think I've heard a more professional presentation of a relatively complex ordinance to be before you this evening than what Mr. Colbo has done. But not just him, but staff, Celine, Kelly, Mike, everyone has done a wonderful job on this, and it's also been a very collaborative effort again with Mr. Onifer and his project. This was again an unfortunate situation where we had a master developer that ran into some cost overruns and basically stalled the project out due to their bankruptcy and the whole bond issue, and everything came to a screeching halt. So we're trying to get it back on track. I think this is a vehicle that allows us to do that. We appreciate the fact that both the city attorney and Mr. Colbo have worked with us to try to develop a vehicle to do that, that being this development agreement that's kind of a standalone development agreement rather than piggybacking off of the old development agreement. And this gives us a little more clarity moving forward and also provides great community benefits to the city as well. So I would invite any questions that you all may have or that the public may have. I'll be happy to address them. But thank you for your time and consideration of this project. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for that. I will call up the two speakers that we have. Paul Onifer, if you want to come back up.
Good evening, Mayor and fellow council members. A couple things. One, to dovetail what Russ said about staff, they've done a fantastic job. There's a lot of moving parts with the town center bankruptcy. Very complicated, a lot of legalese, and we've been working very closely with Quadrille and Russ and Randy to come up with a plan, hopefully, to get the town center, or at least the infrastructure, completed. And we're fully in support of this agreement to help that means. So thank you.
Thank you. James?
First, it's been 10 months since I've seen you. Congratulations, Your Honor, Mayor, and the new city council members and city staff. I'm totally against this project. I'm going to try to read through this. There are 4 attachments in your packets. If you go to Exhibit 1, you'll see what I'm talking about. See attached exhibits that clearly show a detrimental threat to the close proximity of sensitive receptors: babies, children, parents, grandparents, pets, homes, and businesses. I make reference to the quarter-mile sensitive receptor risk model that directly affects Calimesa citizens living nearby the project. of wedge trailer storage facility and buildings A through D. Roberts Road at the trailer drop site butts up against the site's fence and wall where the project on and off-site diesel truck idling and travel are the primary source of diesel particulate combustion exhaust toxic air contaminants that will be emitted into the air as the project operations occur every day while servicing the 253 trailers at this facility. City government knows or should have known that this project is non-compliant with CEQA guidelines and is inherently endangering the existing and future residential sensitive receptors and breaches the quarter-mile sensitive receptor model of greatest exposure risk, and because it does, it should not be approved, and future environmental analysis should take place in order to protect our citizens at all costs. I, as a sensitive receptor advocate, as do you, have a duty to protect our most vulnerable sensitive receptors, our babies, children, parents, grandparents, pets, and our families want to trust you and your decisions that you make. Give them the assurance that you're looking out for them. Now, each one of the exhibits speaks for itself. It goes into more detail about the primary pollution that comes off of the project traffic. So again, it speaks for itself. You'll see the quarter-mile model. It shows that every section on either side of the 10 is compromised. And you cannot put this near our babies, our elderly, our pets, anybody. It's wrong. Do not approve this. It's detrimental to the health of your citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Are there any other speakers in the audience to talk on this subject? I'll close the public testimony and close the public hearing and open up for council discussion.
It's just a first reading, and,
first reading.
but I have no comments or anything on that.
We need to bring it back after the, okay. Okay. So, I'll take a motion to, follow staff recommendation.
Are we gonna, yeah, I'm sorry, do we have some discussion first, or are we gonna come back and vote?
This is time for council discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, go
We're
ahead.
still gonna have to pass it, even though it's the first reading. Okay, just making sure. I'll go ahead and start. I think just to, as Councilmember Cervantes pointed out, this last one, this is an agreement that's already been done. This is just an extension of that agreement. So this particular one happened some years ago. This is before my time, so I wasn't involved. I wasn't on the council at the time this was actually approved, but I'm very familiar with the project since then. And I think the biggest concerns probably for the community, Will pointed out that the zoning would remain. So this entitlement fell apart. The zoning for the project would still be in place. Is that correct? So I think it's probably some of the concerns for the community. So there's a lot of work and a lot of time and energy and money that went into getting that project entitled, and then the city was very involved in the previous council and planning commission involved with that, and I think there was a lot of important details that were worked through with the city as far as offsetting some of those impacts. So not just in dollars setting off the impacts to the project, but also by design. So the designs that were implemented in the project. So I think there's a lot of work that I don't want to dismiss all that work that was done originally for that project. So my concern is if this doesn't get extended, and then that has to be re-entitled and started over from the beginning. So what would happen then? What type of project and what type of agreement would we be able to make at that point? It's kind of a big mystery. So I think based on all the work that's been done in the project and the location of the project, I think it's in the best interest for the city to extend it the way that was, instead of scrapping it and then we're left with the same zoning and uncertain of what might be placed there if we do that. So that's all that I have on it. So I'm for moving forward and extending and approving project.
I think Councilmember Manley did very well. He just emphasized about that. And I think Will also mentioned that if this project doesn't go through, the likelihood or the possibility of getting something worse is a very real possibility without any benefits to the city. And so, as it stands, the city has pretty substantial benefits and some immediate benefits that could go towards our roads, helping support public safety, some of these funds. I think for that reason, it's important to grant the extension.
So does someone want to make the motion to introduce the reading by title only of ordinance 414?
Do we make a motion for that? Yeah.
Do we just adapt or adopt staff's recommendation, or do you want to read the title?
Let's do the title.
Okay. So we'll introduce first reading by title only ordinance 414 and ordinance of the City of Calimesa approving that certain development agreement 25-03, DA 25-03 between the City of Calimesa and QR Berkshire Oak Valley Owner LLC for the Berkshire Logistics Center project located in the Summerwood Ranch Oak Valley specific plan, area number 1, and making findings. No further environmental analysis is required pursuant to Public Resources Code 21166 and CEQA Guidelines Section 15162 and 15164.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. Passes.
Okay, we can go get Councilmember Garcia now, and Mike is our designated go-to for that.
I would like to thank the presenter tonight, all the people in the audience who sat through this. There was a lot of work done by staff, and I appreciate all the time put into this and sitting through this. It was very important work. Thank you so much. At this point, we'll move on to mayor and council member reporting. Okay. Okay, we'll start with
Yeah.
you have
Mr. City Manager,
Yes, sir.
reference the comment that the gentleman made earlier. I know it's getting a little loud.
I
here.
do, yeah, actually. So I didn't want to answer right away because I wanted to do a little bit of research.
I'm not asking you to answer it right now.
Okay.
I just.
Actually, yeah. If you
his-
want to, if you, Mr. Dr. Usher, if you'd like to stay for a couple more minutes, I can address some of the things you brought up. So I'll do. Do you want me to do it now?
No.
Or I could do it during my city. I was going to do it during my city manager
Yeah,
comments.
I figured you were going to. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we were
Okay. Yeah.
listening to him and
If you
trying
want to stay for a few more minutes, I'll address some of the things you said. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. After you said that, I had to do a little research because I wasn't really sure what you were talking about, so I looked at that.
Okay. We're still having a council meeting here, guys.
You need to.
So I just wanted to say, besides that, thank you for addressing that. And then also, thanks staff. Again, as the mayor pointed out, this is a really big packet of stuff. I didn't attend any meetings because this last month for July, it was dark. Most commissions and other ad hocs and things of that nature. So, but we did attend the food fair that our city's putting on at Summerwind, and I think there's been some folks already comment on that. It was a fantastic event there. I know the first one maybe didn't go the way some folks wanted, but I would still encourage everyone to get out and participate. It was a good time. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I only attended Summerwind ad hoc committee, which we discussed most of these projects were before us tonight. I just want to thank staff for all of their work on the food truck series. I was able to make it to the one downtown, so appreciate all the hard work out there. And there's people coming out, so I appreciate that. And I'm sure try to catch Summerwind on the next one. And that'll conclude my reports.
Edgar?
Well, first I want to thank the staff, the whole team for the events and all the hard work that you guys put in. I know there was a lot of hours behind it and organizing everything and getting all the vendors together. I attended both events. They were amazing. I loved it. I loved the first one because it felt more of a country style, you know, in the dirt and stuff. So I loved it. And then the second event as well too, I loved it too. You know, of course, they're in two different locations, and there's always going to be that change. But there was a lot of people that attended both, and I want to see events like this happen in the future because it kind of brings the community together and our neighboring neighborhoods too. And I'm looking forward for more of that. And the next one is you guys did an amazing job, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so RCA and WRCOG were dark in July, and those meetings resume in August. I did attend a Mesa Verde ad hoc along with the mayor. I discussed future development and more to come on that. I did attend the community event on both of them. This Friday, July 18th, and then the previous one. And I want to echo others' comments on that. It's a lot of fun, neighbors meeting neighbors, residents talking to residents, and just doing what a city should do, getting out and meeting each other and having a lot of fun together. So kudos to staff. A lot of work I know went into that, and there are more to come. So if you haven't gone to one, be sure you come out this Friday, which will be back on the boulevard. Am I right? Yep. And so we'll see you there. I also attended the library ribbon cutting, which was a lot of fun. It is regrettable we didn't recognize our commission. I apologize for that. But outside of that, it was a fantastic event, and people talked about how this has been coming for a long time coming for the city, decades in the making, and so many people, so many generations have been a part of making this possible. So many people throughout the history of our city. And so it was such a momentous, joyful occasion for that reason. And so it was an honor to be a part of that for me, and to see a lot of you there as well. So that concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. July was a dark month for RCTC and RTA. I did attend a Metrolink Audit Committee meeting. It was just general information. The summer lunch program at our 4th Street Park was a fantastic success. The kids had a great time. The library system brought reading to the kids to the park, and we probably averaged about 60 kids a day, sometimes more. It wasn't very hot this summer, so it was great for the kids. And the popsicles in the park at both were both fantastic, and the families that went to the 4th Street Park, they had a good time there, and they also went to the Summer Wind event. Also attended the library ribbon cutting. It was a fantastic opportunity to see former residents come to that, former librarians come to that. I think we tried to cover and recognize all the people there, but there were quite a few people there. The developers, the library commission, the staff. The staff did a fantastic job, and the supervisors there as well. I'll defer my comments on our Washington D.C. trip to city manager because that was quite successful. We went to Mike Thornton, Will Coble, and myself went to D.C. June 24th through the 27th and met with Department of Transportation, our Congressman Calvert, and the staffs of Schiff and Padilla. And I think we attended an appropriations committee. I can't remember. It was quite hot. I never sweat so much in my life. But I think it was a very successful trip. And so I would just like to thank the staff for all the hard work that we've done. We have our planning director back, and Celine, you did a great job. I don't know how you did it, but we accomplished it. But all staff does the work of many people. So thank you all for everything that you do. You make us look good. So I'll defer my next comments to our city manager.
Thank you. You reminded me it's been that long since there has been a city council meeting. I'm like, it feels like DC was a long time ago. There's a lot that's happened since then. But before I get to that, as I stated earlier, I wanted to address Dr. Usher's comments from earlier. So I looked up the tax rate area for your area, and so I found the dollar amount that you're referring to. And so under special assessments, there are 3 that total $286.24. The first one is the one that Mr. Thornton actually talked about earlier, which is the Calimesa Landscaping, Lighting, and Maintenance District. That's $21.50. There's a flood control stormwater, which is the county flood control, for $3.74. But the big one is a community facilities district for Yucaipa Calimesa School District for $261. So most of that is actually going to the school district, so it's not coming to the city. So the $21.50 is actually a citywide assessment, and so the amount of the breadth of what that covers, and it's, as Mr. Thornton mentioned, it's $21.50, and it hasn't changed since 1991, and it can't change because of Proposition 218, which was passed in 1996. So basically froze it in time unless there was a vote to increase that. So the items that it covers, we cover as much as we can for the money that comes in for that, and the rest is covered by the general fund essentially, because it's lighting, it's a lot of different things. But to also talk about the Rosewood Estates and that the area that's up against Bryant, staff and I have actually talked about that. And I think there was an email from a neighbor of yours that had reached out, and so we were waiting for the new fiscal year to start, which we're in now, and now we're in the process of doing some landscape design to actually go out and plant things there. First thing is the water was disconnected there because the reason it was, from my understanding, the reason it was taken out in the first place was because of the drought, and we basically went out to all city maintained landscape areas and ripped everything out. Why nothing happened after that, I don't know. That was Mr. French was here quite a while ago. But I do know that is in our plans to address that. So staff's already starting to work on that. We're going to work with South Mesa Water Company to reconnect the water there, and we'll get that started. Yeah. So, and then just one other comment that was stated earlier, just the confusion about the Beaumont Unified School District versus Yucaipa Calimesa. So we are serviced by both. There is a kind of, I think Gardner Wash is pretty much the line. So so this particular development is within the Beaumont Unified School District boundaries. The school districts don't always follow the boundaries of a city. So for whatever reason, Yucaipa Calimesa actually was called Yucaipa School District until Calimesa Incorporated. They changed the name to include Calimesa, and then but it only services the northern part of the city, and Beaumont, just the way the lines are drawn, services the south side. So I wanted to address that as well. For speaking of the DC trip, I would say it was time very well spent. We got some very important commitments from seasoned members of Congress to address our infrastructure challenges. The sole purpose of us traveling to DC was to advocate for funds for the Cherry Valley Boulevard interchange, and so we felt that went very well. David Church and Associates, who's our federal lobbyist, organized the entire trip for us, our itinerary. We were supposed to be escorted by our main lobbyist, Jamie Jones, but unfortunately he fell ill and wasn't able to join us, so our thoughts and prayers are with Jamie for a speedy recovery for him. But they did a tremendous job planning the trip for us, getting all the meetings scheduled. I think that we're probably not done. It may take one more trip to get us over the finish line, but very, very productive, and we got some really good commitments, and I think it's going to be very helpful when we go to apply for those grant funds. So that was great. And finally, the sound system, actually our sound's been pretty good today. Now that we're at the end of the meeting, I could probably say that without too much problem. But we actually do have an RFP out on the street right now to replace our sound system and bring in something that's more robust and that will meet our needs now and into the future, both for people here inside the chamber as well as those at home. So we hear the hissing right now, right? We won't have that kind of thing. So we're excited for that. I know Yeza is very excited for that. And speaking of Yeza and Madi, I want to echo the comments from the council. Very, very proud of the team for their efforts on the food truck series. You know, not only do they do a good job executing it, they do a good job coming up with these ideas. The creativity that the two of them have to bring these events and working with our administrative staff and our public works team to pull these things together. You know, for example, we have those benches. We had the benches at the first one. We have them out here in our patio too. Those were built by our guys from scratch. So very, very impressive work by them. And yeah, so I think I was at the first one, and I felt I kind of had the same feeling that Councilmember Garcia had. It had that country feel, that small town feel, which was really, I think, you know, we had come up with the phrase "embracing the charm." I feel like that event really encapsulated that, and that's what I saw. So that was my impression of it. So with that, that's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so tonight we have one more closed session item. We'll be going into closed session. And Archer, do you want to make a statement? I guess I could just read it. Pursuant to Government Code, Section 54957, titled City Manager.
Yeah, public employee performance evaluation. Yes.
Thank you. So we'll be at 7:48. We're going into closed session. Thank you for everyone for sticking with us tonight. We got some important work done. Thank you.